Hi everyone, I'm Lori Little, the author of the 21 Principles of a Healthy Single Mom, and welcome to Daily Hope for Single Moms. And wondering if you saw some of the last Facebook posts of the big fish I caught this weekend. I had so much fun ice fishing with my husband, and I ended up catching this huge fish, which now I'm the talk of the whole little town that I live in. So that was fun. All that to say, go do something fun and make sure that you just incorporate something outside with your children and having fun. But the last time I left you, I said I was going to talk about the 10 top things that I felt that I did right, and my son said I did right, that helped make us successful. And the first one was asking Jesus Christ into my life as my Lord and Savior. The second one was taking Isaiah 54:5 literally, that the Lord your Maker is your husband, and making him my husband, and believing in that, and letting him take care of me and handle everything for me and heal me and show me what unconditional love is, especially intimacy without a physical touch. So, and then I know I proceeded to tell you about just how good God is, and I'll never be able to stop telling you that, but I want to lead to this third thing that I felt was the next greatest thing that I did, that was brought every bit of life to me and to my son, and that was I got involved in a church. I was in church, but after I became a single mom, I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere, and I just left the church. And I just want to tell you, looking back, to feel like you don't fit in anywhere is an absolute lie. You do fit in. You fit in. You're part of a body of believers, and you fit into church. You just have to find the right one, or ask God to send you to the right one. I just feel like I was blessed. I fell away from church for about 2 years, and I just swore I wasn't ever going to go back. But the Lord had different plans for me, and I'll never forget one Sunday morning. I think I was taking Eric out to breakfast, and I wanted to go to church, but I just said no. I'm not ever going back to church. And literally, the Lord just said, I want you to turn right and go next to that church to Eric's daycare center. There was a new church that started up, and I did as God said, and pulled into the parking lot and walked through the doors. And the minute I walked through the door, I knew I was home, and I knew I was in the right place. And it's where my whole Christian journey began, and the best friends I've ever had in my life came from that church. In fact, my mentors came from that church. So it's been a great experience. I feel lucky that the Lord told me where to go and at the right time to go. So maybe for yourself, ask God to show you the right church to go to, the safe place to go to. But I want to tell you how I got to this point. I told you I just did nothing but dive into my Bible and read. And I got to this verse, and it just really struck home. And it's in the book of Acts in the New Testament. And it's chapter 14, and it's verse 19, if I can read it to you. It says, but Jews came from Antioch and Iconium, and having won over the crowds, here's what I want you to hear. They stoned Paul and dragged him out of the city, supposing him to be dead. And I don't know if you were like me, but when I read that, I said, yeah, that's exactly the way I feel like a single mom. I feel like I've been stoned, and I feel like I've been dragged through the mud in the city, and I've just been left out in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere, and just absolutely left for dead. Maybe that's how you felt too. But look at what happened. This is where I want to show you why it's important to go into church. So if you're feeling that way, and you're isolated, and you're lonely, and you're depressed, and you're sitting out in that place feeling like you're stoned to death, listen to what it says. The next verse says, verse 20 says, but while the disciples stood around him, he got up and entered the city, and the next day he went away with Barnabas to Derbe. So here's what's important. But while the disciples stood around him, he got up. He was supposedly stoned and left for dead. So let's kind of, I don't know this for sure, but let's say it's the same day. So he's out somewhere, stoned. People thought he was dead, and they left him. But when his disciples came around him, he got up. And that's where everything changed for me, because I was that lonely, isolated, depressed single mom. I didn't have anybody in my life. I went to work and I came home. That was my whole life. But as soon as I got not just anybody around me, the right people around me, God put me in that church to surround me with good Christians and good Christian friendships. So, and that enabled me to get up, because you know what, I couldn't get up by myself. I couldn't, you know, as they say, I couldn't put my big girl panties on and just get up by myself, or pull up my bootstraps and get up, you know. I couldn't do it by myself. But when the right people, like Paul, when his disciples got around me, I got up. And that's when I really started flourishing, because you're not meant to be alone. And life is meant for relationships and with other people. You must be involved with other people, otherwise life doesn't work. It's never the way God meant for it to be. So if you've been burned by a church, I understand. If you feel like the church you're in isn't working for you, find the right one. Ask God to lead you to the right one. But it is absolutely the greatest thing I did for myself, because of the great friendships that I've had, and still do. And it was amazing for Eric, too. He got involved in the Sunday school classes and the children's pastors and great men in their life. And you know what? One of the best things about going to church is all the hugs that you get from all the people there. So it's a very fill up your tank day, emotional day, because you give hugs and you get great hugs. And it really kept me looking for love in all the right places, and it kept me around a good body of believers that weren't going to hurt me or harm me, and they brought life to my life, and to Eric's too. And most of those people are still in my life even after all those years. So I like for you to tell you today, get around some good people and get up and get in other relationships and just enjoy a wonderful, fulfilling life, because you are not meant to spend life alone. So how about if you'd like to order my book, and we're going to start going through that pretty soon. So you might want to get your copy now so you can follow along with us. We're going to be doing some Friday night Facebook Live nights where I'm going to be doing live teaching. So I know you want to have the book to get along with that. And I'm telling you, ladies are starting classes all over the world just from watching these videos and getting to know the 21 principles. So go to my website, Hope4singlemoms.com. Get your book. Get Eric's book for your kids. Get my husband's book for your child's father. Try to get the whole family on the same page, and we'll see you tomorrow.